Joining us now, she is the new head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, but she's been a Tar Heel her whole life. I speak of our good friend Megan Smith Lyon, who joins us here in the circle. How's that title? Is that sunk in for you there, head coach North Carolina?
No, not at all. It is very surreal. I've dreamt of being the head coach at North Carolina. It was always probably a goal in the back of my mind. And I don't think I ever really thought it would happen. But I think in the back of my head, this was always what I was working for. And I'm just so thankful and so blessed to be back in Carolina Blue.
No doubt, and it's unique because obviously for so many years, obviously we know Donna obviously was at the helm. I think recently they just celebrated her
Mhm.
there. What has that been like for you? Not only taking over the program for her in that situation, something that it just for all the time she's been there, it is kind of unique in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it's so special. Coach Papa means the world to me. She's been family since I was, gosh, 13. She was my role model and the person that I looked up to as a young softball player in the state of North Carolina. I went to every one of her camps, and my ultimate dream was to play at North Carolina, and she, of course, made that dream come true. And she's been such a big supporter of mine and a mentor for me and a good friend. And so being able to take the reins after she made the decision to retire, it's been really special. And, I hope, and I think, in her and I's conversations, we're very close still and we talk all the time. So I think she's happy and she's, excited that I'm the one that's going to be leading the program because, my job right now is just to build on what she's done and to honor what she's done, by taking it even further. That's our goal. And, at the end of the day, I love her so much and she's done so much for me. So I'm excited to come back and serve the program that she built.
What went through your mind when she announced her retirement? What were the emotions like? Because they had to be somewhat emotional, right? As
Yeah.
somebody you've known her, like she's been a big part of your life, and she's decided to retire. You're happy for her that she's going out on her turn, but at the same time, it had to be a little unique for you there.
Yeah, it was a lot of emotions when I got the news that she decided to retire. I don't think any of us ever thought it was ever going to happen. I mean, she is Carolina softball. She is our coach. We wanted her to be here forever. And I know as soon as it was announced, a lot of my alum friends, we were just frantically texting back and forth, and it was kind of honestly, it was sad. This is our person. This is our coach, and she is Carolina softball. And we were excited for her that she is now, she's earned the right to retire and get a break and be able to do all the things that she hasn't been able to do because she's been so busy taking care of the program. But we were also sad because we wanted her to coach forever. So it was definitely an emotional day and emotional couple days connecting with alums and connecting with her and but really excited for her and her next phase of what she's doing. I mean, she's loving life and she deserves that. She gave so much to this program.
Yeah, it's going to be tremendous. And like I said, she was recently. A lot of the alums came back to honor her, and
Yep.
the huge turnout, unbelievable.
Huge.
What was that like to have that much, so many people? I mean, I know you weren't surprised because that's how much impact she's had,
Mhm.
but that's an incredible for people to come out of their way to go honor her, celebrate her on a on a non softball weekend, really.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. We decided when she made the decision to retire, she did it after the season. So there wasn't a big retirement celebration. There was nothing to honor her. She made that decision after everything was over. So when I got the job, I was immediately Bev Smith, the head coach at South Carolina, who I played for here, and she played for Coach Papa too. We decided we needed to plan a weekend for her. And we kind of talked about it recruiting the summer, and then I started planning, and just wanted to give everyone the opportunity to come back and tell her how much she means to all of us. And it was an amazing turnout. The weekend was unbelievable. It was all about honoring coach and celebrating her. And we sure did that. We had a lot of fun, reminiscing and, telling stories and spending time with her and spending time with each other. I've been really touched too with how many of my teammates were invested in the process of me being the coach here and of coming back to honor coach, but also to celebrate me getting the job as well. I mean, I had so many of my teammates back and players I coached here as an assistant come back for that. So it was an awesome weekend, specifically for coach because we were celebrating her, but it was for me too because it was a trip down memory lane and I got to hang out with old teammates and old friends who are so near and dear to my heart.
That's fantastic to hear. So once she announces her retirement, the job is going to be available there. What goes through your mind in that process? And take us through that thought process because you said this is a prime job. It's a
Yeah.
dream job for you, but that you're not the only one that would be interested. This is a top job, and at the time, I would argue it's probably the biggest job open in the off season in the sport. So take me through your emotions on that.
Well, to be quite honest, um, when she retired, I didn't even think about could I be the next head coach? I didn't even think about it for several days. I was at Marshall, and Marshall's an amazing place. We were doing awesome things there, and really successful, great players, great people. My husband, who's my assistant, we were extremely happy with what we were doing there. And I was actually in grad school getting my doctorate at Marshall, so that we had a lot of really great things going on. So my head didn't even go there initially. Probably not until a week went by. And, I was talking to coach and kind of hearing her philosophy and thoughts on what she was hoping to happen, as she's moving on. And, I just had this I had this strong feeling that, we need to have someone in there that understands what it means to be a Tar Heel, that understands how valuable and how we need to honor Coach Papa as we move forward. And after thinking through it, I thought, gosh, it was a dream in the back of my head. I was super happy where I was. But let's see what might happen. And, was able to get a Zoom interview, Coach or Bubba Cunningham, our athletic director, set up a Zoom with me. And, I told him, and I firmly believe this, everything I've done in my entire career, every decision I've made led me to that moment. It led me to this moment to interview for this job, whether I get it or not. I know everything I did was for this moment. And, at the end of the day, I'm going to give my heart and soul for this place that I love so much, that is so important to me and my family. And I'm going to give my heart and my soul to give back to Coach Papa and her legacy and continue to grow it. That's what my plan is. And, I'm again so lucky that they made the decision to stick with a Tar Heel in this position.
Well, how was that for you? In that you interview for the job, but then you wait and see what happens. But this is North Carolina, and you and I have actually talked about this in the past when you've come on the show. We've talked about the great history of North Carolina, even with the basketball program, how people follow from Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge and Roy Williams and Hubert Davis, that he always kept it in the family. That was a big thing in Carolina. And here we are now in softball. What's going through your mind as you wait to see what happens, whether you get the job or don't? Because on the one hand, it obviously affects you, but I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, well, I hope I get this job, but I definitely want to make sure that they pick the right person for it. So there's a lot of mixed emotions there, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. For me too, I was in a place where I was super happy too. So for me, yeah, obviously this is my dream and I want to come to North Carolina and do great things for my alma mater and grow Coach Papa's legacy. Yeah, if they don't choose me, I want them to bring someone in that's going to honor what's happened here and grow it, and understand what it means to be a Tar Heel. It's a special place for special people. And I think that's an important piece of it. But at the end of the day too, I had a piece because I knew if this didn't work, okay, that's okay. I love where I am. I'm at a really awesome place that has invested a lot in our program and that we've been extremely successful and have great supporters, and great players and great people around us. So, for me, it was, there was a lot of emotions, right? I, of course, dreamt of this, wanted to come here and be a part of this again. But at the end of the day, I loved Marshall and where I was. So it was a lot of emotions that were, kind of going, but honestly, I was at peace with whatever was going to happen.
Well, let's talk about Marshall real quickly because that's a big part of why you ended up probably getting Carolina because of the turnaround you had at Marshall. You got them all the way to the Sun Belt Championship game within a runaway from the NCAA tournament. Just talk about your time at Marshall and how that helping turn around that program to get it to where it is and competing right away in the Sun Belt.
Mhm.
I think people were caught off guard how quickly you were a contender in the Sun Belt. Just talk about your time there because you generally enjoy it. We've talked obviously while your time there. That's a
Yep.
place that's going to still always you're going to have fond memories of.
Oh, 100%. Marshall's special. When I took the job here and went back to the field for the last time, I mean, I'm not I was emotional. I mean, I was on the field and I was very emotional because that place means a lot to me. And I had no ties to Marshall, no ties to West Virginia before I took that job. I was and I've talked with you before about personally, I'd gone through some things. My husband passed away when I was at Kansas, and it was a hard few years at Kansas going through rebuilding that program, going through that personal tragedy. So coming to Marshall was a new start for me, a fresh start. It was a place that there were no, I didn't have any of those heavy feelings like I did at Kansas. I was able to start fresh, and it really reignited gosh, my love for all of coaching and softball. I think I was able to be free to coach how I wanted, to be able to build good relationships with people. The people at Marshall were amazing. They really embraced what we were doing and made us feel special and important. And sometimes that doesn't happen in softball, so that was refreshing. And the young women that came through that program that were already there and that came through, they were special people. They really, really made coming to the field every day so much fun. And yeah, Marshall, it's an awesome place, and I think our ability to go in quickly and compete. I mean, our first year at Marshall, we were in the Conference USA championship game, and then we switched conferences and we were in that championship game. And I think that just goes to show how special of a place it is. People want to be there. People love softball there. It's well supported. And it was a wonderful experience. I mean, I'll be 100% honest. Had it not been for my alma mater, I wouldn't have left Marshall. It was an awesome place to be.
Ironically, or perhaps fittingly, they hire an alum of their own in
Yeah.
Morgan Zurell to take over and follow you. It's kind of ironic that you
Yeah.
end up going to your alma mater and they get one of their own to take over the program there, and one of the maybe arguably one of the best players, if not the best player they've ever had there, in Morgan Zurell. She's right there in the conversation with the Rachel Fultons and the Amanda
Mhm.
Williams. So it's kind of ironic they went to the family tree.
Yep. I love that. As soon as I made the decision, of course, I want the players that were at Marshall to be taken care of. I love them. They are wonderful, wonderful young women and wonderful players. And so, my mind is I've got to prepare for this new team, but I also want my old team to be taken care of. And, in my head, I thought Morgan came to mind for sure, just because she loves the place. And I think that means something. When you love the place you're at, when you are invested in the program and in the place, you will treat things not necessarily different, but there is a different way you approach things when you love the place and love what's happened and love, the tradition that's been there. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I think she is totally capable and prepared. I think that those players are in really good hands, and I was really, really excited for her to get the job. And she kept Allie Harrell on as an assistant, and I love Allie Harrell. She played for me and was an assistant coach for me as well. So I love what they're doing there, and I hope that they have so much success because I'm a huge fan of theirs, and I will be, and am definitely rooting for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think she said in her press conference that was like a dream job for her, which
Hmm.
you could, you of all people could relate to that. Like that had to
Yep.
be kind of, it had to be surreal for you, in a
Mhm.
weird way, right? It's kind of like, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. That makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
for you. So take me through now the day. Do you get the phone call and you find out you've got the job? What was that like for you?
I was speechless, to be quite honest. Our athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, called me, and I was actually in the car. I had Corey, my husband, and I had taken our son Cooper to see the Red Sox play. We're big Red Sox fans, so we were in Cleveland at the time, and we were on our way home. We had actually driven separately, and I was in the car by myself, and I had to pull over. I mean, it was a moment that I had dreamt of, but never thought was going to happen, and it was a very emotional phone call for me. I mean, I'm very grateful, and I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come. I think the after that phone call, the next phone call I made obviously was to Corey, but after that, probably my favorite phone call was when I called my dad. He is a Carolina alum. He I mean, we grew up Tar Heel fans. We had season tickets to football games. My sister and I would go. We would go to the games with him. I'd be in my Carolina cheerleading outfit as a youngster. It's been in the family. We've been Tar Heels forever. And, I think honestly, my father is happier than I am about this. He is over the moon. And when I called him, that was the best phone call. He's been here. He keeps, like, now that I'm here, he's coming here all the time. He's watching practices. It's amazing to see him, and he's older, so I'm closer to him and my mother, which is really nice. But how emotional my parents were about it. That was special. I was really excited to tell them those were the best phone calls. Getting the job was good, but being able to tell my parents I got the job was pretty amazing.
How many times have they asked you now for tickets to various North Carolina sporting events?
Well, luckily we get tickets, so that's good. My dad's come up to every football game, and he hangs out with my son while we're have recruits and are doing what we need to do. But they supported the Tar Heel softball even when I was at other places, and my parents were always here. They love Coach Papa; she loves them. So this is coming here to watch games and be around isn't anything new to them. They've been doing it. Now it probably just it's a little bit different. Hits a little bit different now that I'm out there on the field.
What was Coach Papa's reaction? What advice did she give you when you told her, hey, hey, I'm not going to take over for you?
Well, I think she may have known before I knew that they were going to offer me the job. I think that they were, they definitely. I'm not going to say she was involved in the process. I don't know that, but I know that she was being kind of kept up to date on what was going on. She was invested, obviously, and she wanted to make sure that she was involved in that. So she probably knew, but she's given me tons of advice. I mean, I think one of the great things about this transition, not just for me personally, but for the program, is that Coach Papa is still involved in terms of, giving me little tidbits of info that, had an alum not been here, I don't know if that would have happened, right? So I'm getting really good information from her on, specific people I need to connect with, certain ways things are done. She's told me time and time again, I don't want to overstep. I don't want to, this is your program now. But I keep reminding her, this is our program. You are not forgotten. This is our program, and I want to hear from you. I want to get your feedback. So she's been great. I've loved having her input, and she'll come by the clubhouse. I will say this: the first time she came to the clubhouse after I had been named and after I had come to campus, it was very emotional for both of us. I feel like it was kind of for her the finality of this chapter is over for me in terms of being the head coach. But here is this person who I mentored and I have known since she was 12. I think it's a special thing. It's a special thing. And so I cherish her coming back and giving me feedback. I welcome it. I love her so much, and I know she loves me too. So it's been really special.
I'm just curious, have you talked to other Carolina, like Hubert Davis or Carolina coach? Because they've been in the same situation you've been, where you're following a legend.
Yeah.
And Hubert's case, obviously he was an assistant, so he was already there. But still, there is something to be said of following somebody that helped build this program. I'm curious if you've reached out and talked to people about that, because You know, you can mention this is you know, she's a big part of this program. Will always be a big part of this program. But at the same time, you're the head coach too now, and you're going to do some things differently. So there's that uniqueness there. So have you? I'm curious with all the people, the resources there. Have you reached out to people about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to some, I wouldn't say that I've really had extensive conversations with them, but I've definitely talked to some people here, and I actually had some conversations with Roy Williams, and just just kind of just getting to know them, and but I'll be honest with you, I think. Yeah, when I took over at Marshall, I took over for Jen Steele, who was only there for a year, but Shonda Stanton was there for so long and was so successful and beloved there. So I kind of had an idea of how to do this, taking over for someone that has done so much for a program. And, I think for me too, I have to be true to me and my style and how I do things, but I also have to honor and respect what has been done before, which is so easy here because I respect Coach Papa immensely. So it is an easy transition in terms of how, in my opinion, how to handle taking over for such a legend because I know her, I played for her, I coached with her, I love her. So for me, it's about honoring her and respecting her and then just continuing to move forward. And even if we shift things, which we will, we're going to shift things in a different direction in a lot of ways. It's still with the utmost respect for what has happened and for her. And I think that's the key for me, honoring the past, but moving forward in a slightly different direction.
You've been on social media a lot, and you've shown your passion for the school. You know, showcasing the campus, sporting event, etc. What was it like for you when you came back to Chapel Hill and you put on those Tar Heel colors for the first time as the head coach? Not, not just, hey, I'm an alum, I'm a no, as the head coach. What was that like for you when you arrived?
It's been crazy. I mean, it's absolutely surreal. And honestly, there are days where I say to myself, is this real? Like, is this really happening? Right. And I think I'm lucky. Here's the thing. North Carolina for me is not just a place I went to school. This has been my whole life. I've been a Tar Heel. I was born in the state. I grew up a Tar Heel fan. Not just because I was a fan, but because my father went to school at Carolina. My sister went to school at Carolina. I've got so many family members that have gone here. I mean, it's just been a part of my blood since I was a baby. And so, for me, this is not just a great place to coach or a great place to be. This is my heart. This is me. And I am a Tar Heel. And to be able to come back and serve this place and to serve the players that are doing what I did 20 some years ago. I mean, it's the biggest honor of my life other than being a mom to my son. I mean, and I genuinely believe that. And I approach every day like it's a gift. I mean, I'm the luckiest person in the country to be able to be at the place I love the most. Representing the school that I love so much, that's been in my blood since I was a baby, and serving these players. And that's what I'm trying to do. My job is to serve them and to serve this university. And I'm going to do it with all my heart and soul and do the best I can.
It sounds like is that some of the message you told the players when you were introduced to them? Is that basically the message you delivered?
100%, 100%. I mean, I'm big on, I want my players to know me and know me as a person, not just a coach. And I'm always authentic in who I am. Right. And at the end of the day, and everybody that's ever met me knows my love for this place, even if I've been at other schools. This is my true love is North Carolina and the Tar Heels. So, I wanted them to know how much I am invested in this place and how much love I have for it, how much I respect everything that's happened here, how much I love Coach Papa. I wanted them to know that, you have someone that's going to be leading you, that is 100% a Tar Heel, and I have been my whole life. And I think that my passion for this place, my passion for the sport, my passion for this program, I want them to feel that every single day, and I think they do.
Let's talk about this roster. I'm curious, how much of this roster do you talk to Coach Papa just to learn about them? Hey, what they're like, or do you prefer to find out things on your own? Is it a mix? How do you approach that?
A little bit of a mix. I mean, I really think Finding out on my own is where I want to be, because I honestly, to me, this is a fresh start for everybody. A fresh start for us as a staff, a fresh start for every player. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a really good thing. She has given me some input on some, just to give me some background info, which things that she felt like I needed to know. And she is the type, like I said, that she doesn't want to overstep or be meddled too much, but there are some things that she felt like I should know, which I was super grateful that she shared with me. But I've really enjoyed getting to know them with a clean slate. I think that's important. And we've got a lot of great young women on our roster. They love this place. They love the sport. They're excited about what's coming and all the newness that we're bringing. They've been really receptive and really welcoming to us, which I've been really grateful for.
What have you learned about them so far?
I've learned that they're ready to come to the field and love what they're doing every day. They're ready for that. I think that they're all proud to represent the University of North Carolina, which that makes me happy. I want them to think of that first, that they are excited to represent the Tar Heels and be a Tar Heel. So I know that they have that. I think that they're super ready and eager to come to the field every day and be excited about what's going on and be able to be themselves, to be able to be free, and not have fear of failure. And that's really my philosophy as a coach. I want players to love what they're doing every day. It's not easy, it's going to be hard, but I want them to come out and be able to be themselves, be able to be free and play free, to be able to fail and work through it and not fear the failure. And at the end of the day, I want them to know that I'm their biggest fan. And I think they're excited for that. When in talking with them right when I got the job, they were excited for maybe a fresh outlook in terms of the day-to-day and the energy, and certainly high energy. So I'm definitely bringing that. And I think that they really have been receptive to it.
Well, you mentioned them playing freely. What's
Mhm.
interesting, over the years, I've talked to coaches that have coached at their alma mater, and they said one of the things they learned quick was to make sure that, the alum side of them, not to put too much pressure on themselves to succeed, because there's that added like pride of, hey, I'm an alum, I want this program to be successful. But they felt like at times they put so much pressure on themselves that it would rub off on the players, and that they would feel the pressure. And as a result, they're playing tight. And, necessary.
Yeah.
Is that, how do you balance that out? Is that something that you're, conscious about from that standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a big responsibility. I have this responsibility of coming back to this place, and I'm so have been invested in it. And, obviously I want to get things, turned around here, and I want to make Carolina, I want to put Carolina softball on the map. I want to help do that with these players. And so there's a responsibility, but at the end of the day, I need to be authentically me and be who I am. And I'm the type of coach that wants a positive environment, that wants a very tough and disciplined environment, but a positive environment with lots of positive energy, and support for each other. And so at the end of the day, I've got to be true to myself, and that's who I am. Of course, I put pressure on myself everywhere I've been to have a successful team. But to me, I've got to hold that within myself and be my authentic self with our players, so they can really do what needs to be done to be successful. I mean, playing tight, playing fearful, playing, with immense pressure and with, a weight on your shoulders, that's not a recipe for success for anyone. So, I always want to make sure when I'm out on the field with our players that they can breathe, that they can play free, that they can enjoy what they're doing, even when it's hard, and I'm very mindful of making sure that I'm checking myself, and I am leading by example in that respect.
How are you a different person now in the North Carolina dugout than you were the last time you were in the North Carolina dugout so many years back?
Oh, way different. Totally different. Totally different. I mean, I think my philosophy as a coach has changed tremendously since then. That's been a long time. And, I think that, you know, eh, now how I approach things is completely different than I approached things even just 10 years ago. I'm a big believer in working with players now and meeting them where they are. And I'm big, my biggest priority is building relationships with them. so, we can really work together to get where we want to go. I want to earn their trust and respect. I think a long time ago, I felt like just being in that position, they should trust and respect me. Well, that's not the way it works. And that's not the way I am right now. I'm big on really being intentional about the relationship building and about learning each person individually, and having them learn me. I want them over at our house. I want them to see me as a person first. I want to see them as people first. That's so, so important. So I've been investing a lot of time in doing that. In fact, tonight we're doing some team bonding overnight, and we're gonna have so much fun together. And so I've been really working on that. But I think back before, you come and you coach hard and you train them, and you just expect them to have trust and respect for you just because of the title. And I do not have that thought process now. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to work with them. I'm here to get to know them. I'm here to help them become strong, independent young women that are going to go out in the world and do awesome things. And they're going to do awesome things on the field too. But I just look at things completely different now.
As you go through this fall, how much too is the learning curve as far as learning the players, learning how they function, them learning you, learning your staff? I mean, it's kind of an ongoing. You've gone through this, so how is that process? Is it one of those things where you have to be maybe more patient,
Yep.
just because it's hey, it's not going to just happen overnight?
Yeah, you have to have patience. I mean, it is a process. And I talked about this with the team, maybe yesterday or the day before. Change sometimes is uncomfortable a little bit, but it's going to be great if we trust the process and we work through it. We've got to kind of learn each other. And we're in the process of doing that. And we're very intentional about working on that every day, not just learning each other as teammates, but as coaches and players, because now we're all in this together, brand new, clean slate. So it is a process. We have to be patient. Patience is not one of my biggest strong suits, but it is in this respect, because I know that we have to take things step by step, and we're really working on doing that, making sure that we're investing the time we need to learn each other, not just learn the processes on the field, but learn each other too, so we can really do awesome things this spring.
Speak to the staff you have that you're able to bring in, especially bringing in from Marshall, that you've been together for a long time. The people that follow the sport on a day to day know very well about them, but maybe the casual people, like some Tar Heel fans, will get to learn about them. So what's the message you tell them about your staff?
Well, I was very, very fortunate that our Marshall staff pretty much came with, and obviously one of them had to. So that
Yeah.
was a good thing. I was pretty smart a while ago to find a great hitting coach, and then he's linked to me now for life. So that's a good thing. So obviously Corey coming was a no-brainer. It was happening. But I think that's going to be a huge impact for this team. What he does for players offensively and connecting with them and learning them and working with them on an individual basis, but also a team philosophy basis. I mean, he did amazing things at Marshall with our hitters, and he's going to do the same thing here, no doubt. And then Maddie Holub coming with, I didn't know if that was going to happen. And I was super excited when she quickly made the decision that she was coming. She's had opportunities to go to Power Fives ever since we hired her at Marshall. And I was lucky to keep her at Marshall as long as I did, and super fortunate that she made the jump here. She's an amazing, amazing person and an amazing pitching coach. Our pitchers are so lucky to have her. What she brings to the table with her, she's meticulous with her organization, with how she trains them, with the data that she does, with the cutting edge biomechanical things that she's doing with them. She is just an amazing coach, and she connects with them. She empowers them. She works well with them. So her being here was huge. And Corey and I, we're a unit. We've worked so well together at Marshall. We share the same philosophies. We share the same core values of how we do things. I can't say enough about those two being here with me. They're going to be a huge reason why Carolina is going to do some awesome things. And then, we were able to keep Kiwi James, who was in a technology role or a player development role before. She had coached here, but being able to keep an alum who brings a skill set that we needed, slappers and outfield. That's her passion, and she was great at it here. And just getting to know her the summer before we hired her, she is a immediate fit with us. You know, she is all about positive energy, all about pushing players, but being positive while doing it. She loves this place, and she has fit in really well. It's like she's been with us for years, which has been awesome to see. And our outfielders and slappers are getting some great instruction from her, which has been great. And then we were able to, which we didn't have at Marshall, we have a director of ops, and we actually have a player development position as well. So Brittany Jackson played for me at Kansas. She ended up transferring to NC State, but I've got her in the Carolina Blue now, which is great. She's an unbelievable person, great energy. She's going to do great at all of our ops duties. And then Jorge Saladkin came in as our player performance person and analyst. And, you know, he's got great energy and is adding a lot to the team too. So our staff, I'm over the moon about our staff. I think that we've got 6 people that are here for the right reasons, that are here for each other and here to serve our players, and that are loving Chapel Hill and the University of North Carolina, which is super, super important. So I'm excited about our staff.
What's the key in taking North Carolina back to what it was, is continuing competing for conference championships, making the NCAA tournament, making deep runs in postseason? What are a couple of ingredients that you think is key to bringing back North Carolina to that level?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard task, right? I mean, the ACC is a great mean, it's getting better and better and better every year. So this is not an easy task. You know, we've had 4 not so great years at North Carolina. It hasn't been great. And so we're trying to do some things that haven't been done in a while. And so for us, it's about the energy. We've got talent. We're going to have talent. It's about day to day, the environment and the culture that we have. Are we creating a culture where players can thrive? Are we creating a culture where the team environment can thrive, where it can grow, where we can have this championship mindset, but also have this positive energy and supportive mindset incorporated with it? You know, I think that's the key. We're going to have talent. You know, we have talent now. They've had talent. But let's create a culture where they love being here, where they want to fight for each other, where they respect and trust the staff, where we're working together. You know, I told them as a team, and I will tell them this over and over again, this will never be a feeling of coach and player separate. We are together. We are together working as a group, as a family, to accomplish our goals. And I think that's going to be the key here. You know, we're going to coach them at a high level. We're going to train them at a high level. You know, they're going to improve a ton as players with us. I believe that. But it's about the culture that we are creating and we're going to work towards on a daily basis. That's what's going to get us where we want to go, paired with the development on the field. And we're investing a lot of time in culture, and I always will. I always will, because I think that's the key.
You mentioned the ACC, how strong it's become, how big it's become. Part of that is the coverage that ACC softball gets now, in part because of the ACC network. I mean, you've already done, I think, interviews on the network
Right.
for there. What is that like for you? Because that's now part of the job here too, is kind of having a lot of the media obligations that comes with that exposure that's going to help you bring in that talent, because recruits will be able to watch your team play almost the whole year.
Yeah, you know, that's great. I mean, I think coming from a place where there was not very much press or coverage to a place where, you know, we're able to have that, I think is wonderful. I think obviously our brand sells itself, right? Everybody knows the University of North Carolina. Let's be honest, it's the best color in the world. And so everyone's trying to add Carolina blue to their school colors, which is so funny to me. But you know, we already are a draw in terms of recognition. People know North Carolina, right? So now let's get a spotlight put on what we're doing on the softball field now, what we are creating in terms of our environment. This is going to be an environment where people can come and thrive as people, thrive as softball players. We're going to be working towards winning championships, going to regionals, taking Carolina to the first super regionals, taking Carolina to the first World Series. We're going to be working through that, but with a culture of a family atmosphere that loves each other, loves this place, loves the game, that you can come and be yourself and be free and have coaches that support that and work with you, teammates that will support that and work with you. I mean, I want as much publicity as we can get on what we're doing here, because I think, you know, people know North Carolina, but now I want them to know what we're bringing to the table softball wise. And it's different. It's different. We're doing things different. You know, we want players to love what they're doing, and we want to be a part of them loving it.
That's a great point you made, by the way, about team schools trying to get the Tar Heel colors
All of
as
them.
alternate jerseys. Like, it's
All
kind
of
of
them.
wild. Like,
I don't blame them. I don't
no, but
blame them. It's the
it's a
best color.
great point. It's a great point. I never thought of it, but you're right. I mean, I'll use Tulane as an example only because they don't have softball. So
Right.
like they have Tar Heel colors they wear.
Oh yeah. So many of them do. Everyone wants to wear Carolina blue. Everyone wants to wear it. Everyone. You know,
Exactly.
but only Tar Heels are wearing the real Carolina blue, in my opinion. So everybody else, it's just, you know, that it's funny to me though. And you see schools, even Carolina blue is not even really a part of their colors, and they're throwing it in there. It's funny to me.
No, you're right. That has become a popular alternate jersey that a
Hmm.
lot of programs in various sports are wearing. That's a good catch by you. That's valid.
Yep.
I
I
can't
don't
just
blame them. I don't blame them. It's the best color.
let me. Yeah, it's true. Uh, I mentioned the ACC network coverage. One of the people that works at ACC network, Britney McKinny,
Yeah.
the Tar Heel herself. I what that's are you gonna tease her like, hey, make sure you like can you come and work some of the Tar Heel games here on
Yeah.
the net when it's ACC network, right? Come on, we got to get a
Yeah.
fellow Tar Heel there.
Yeah, Brittany McKinney, man, she is a true Tar Heel. So I know she's working the ACC network, and she probably has to stay impartial, but I know she bleeds Carolina blue. So I've known her since she was a youngster. I was actually the head coach at Western Carolina, and one of her high school teammates played for me, and so she would come to our camps, and obviously recruited her at Western. She chose North Carolina, which I totally got it, but um, she's an amazing person and a great Tar Heel. We're so proud of her and what she's accomplished, and she, you know, she's going to do what she has to do professionally, but I know in her heart she's all about the Tar Heels.
I mean, the way she's going, she might go national. I mean, she's doing more national stuff than ever before. So who knows? It might go beyond ACC with her, with the
Yeah.
track that she's making. But it's funny you mentioned that she picked Carolina. You kind of understood that. It's
Yep.
got to be nice. You don't have to deal with that anymore because I'm sure in the past you've lost recruits to North Carolina, and you're like, yeah, I kind of get it. I understand, right? Like now you don't have to deal with that anymore. Now that you can
Yeah.
come with them.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, but people, and I'm a big believer and a big proponent of people need to pick the fit for them. So sometimes, you know, we
So
would get players over North Carolina because they wanted a different role or it was a different fit. They wanted smaller. So, you know, I feel like we're in a good place. A lot of people want to come here, but at the end of the day, too, it's all a fit thing in recruiting, I think. And there is, you know, gosh, the program I ran at Western was awesome. The program I ran at Marshall was awesome. To me, that's a great experience. And, you know, I don't think one's better than the other. It's all about a fit, you know.
well, in your backyard there in North Carolina State, very good softball recruiting state. That region in particular, it's a great.
Mhm.
It's not an accident that the ACC's growth has come with that. I mean, Duke's had success because of that, Clemson, et cetera, et cetera. How much of that too is a big factor in helping you kind of build this back up with what you have around you?
Yeah, this area is it has grown so much in regards to talent. You know, back when I was a high schooler in North Carolina, we had slow pitch in high school. So to play fast pitch, you had to do your local leagues. And, you know, I think it has grown tremendously. You know, the Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia. I mean, there's so much great talent here. And you know, that's like you said, look at the teams around here and how well they're doing. It's amazing the talent level. And, you know, we're excited about, you know, our goal is to really lock in on that area and to have players in North Carolina stay in North Carolina and represent their state school, which is not Duke or State, it's North Carolina, the University of North Carolina. So, you know, we're hoping to be able to keep the great in-state talent here, but then really look regionally. You know, I think it's grown so much. There's great talent, amazing talent, and we've gotten some good ones so far, and we're excited about the future looking in this area. And we will still look nationally, don't get me wrong, but you know, there's so much great talent around here.
Two last questions between now and February. What are some of the things you want to see growth from this roster and this team to be ready once you get on the field in February? What are some of the things you got to work on?
So we've got to work on I talked about the culture piece. We've got to work on how we're approaching things, and you know, we've got to really lock in on what we believe, our core values, understand those and live those. And that's a process. That's going to take all fall to really work through those, and to make sure that we know who we are. And, when we genuinely know who we are, and we go out and we represent that on a daily basis, we're going to be able to do awesome things. So that's a key. That is a big, big key right there. And I think too, just the mindset. We're going to have a different mindset in how we approach things. We are tough on the field and we want to be disciplined, but we want to do it focusing on the process more than the results. And I think that that's new to them. I think, really locking in on clearly defined process goals and tracking those and talking about them. I think the thought of, a great season and making a regional and doing all these things is great, but there's so many steps that we have to go through for that to even be a possibility. So right now, our focus, it's those steps. And so this entire fall, we're locked in on culture, core values, understanding who we are and how we want to represent North Carolina, and then understanding all of the little things that we have to do to get us to what our ultimate goal is going to be in the spring. And we want that ultimate goal to be, we want to know it and it to be in the back of our minds, but we got to lock in on all the daily small things that we need to do to make that happen instead of skipping through and just focusing on the end. Because if we do that, we're going to miss all of the details that it's going to take. So that's our focus this fall. That's our focus. And I think we're off to a great start. Great start doing it. And we got a long ways to go, but we got a lot of time to do it. So we'll be able to get through all of that this fall.
My last question, it might hit you, it might be at some point this fall. It could be in the spring, maybe in the home opener. Have you thought about that moment? You're going to be in the dugout. What is it going to be like for you? Are you going to take a moment to take it in? Like, wow, all my journey has led me to where I'm at right now here at my dream job in North Carolina. Is that something that you've thought about? It has to kind of cross your mind at some point. I know you're focused on the games and what's going on, but it's got to be a special moment for you there. It would not, to take a moment and say, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the back of my mind, like every little thing that I've done, like the first time I ran a camp here, and that's the most basic thing. But
Yeah.
when I was an assistant, I used to run the camps, but as an assistant. When I was a player, I used to work the camps, but as a player. And to actually run the camp and stand in front of a group of 100, young players and introduce myself as the head coach at North Carolina. I mean, it's almost in the back of my mind, I'm just pinching myself. I mean, how is this real? How is this real? I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. I am so lucky. All of the moments that are happening, I probably am not stopping and verbalizing it, but in my heart and in my head, I'm just so amazed that this is my life. So grateful. And I'm going to work hard to do great things for this place that I love and for these players. And, I'm just that day that's our first game. It won't be about me. It's about our players, but I know in the back of my mind, I'm probably going to have a moment where it's a little surreal. And I mean, the joy I feel being able to put on Carolina blue and lead this program and in taking it over from the person who coached me and that I love so much. It's amazing. It is an amazing feeling.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty awesome moment. I don't know if you've heard, but she's got a niece that's a good singer too. If you need somebody to sing an
Yeah.
answer,
Yeah, she's awesome. I've gone to see her in Nashville. She's amazing.
Taryn,
She was
Taryn,
actually, so Taryn was a bat girl.
yeah.
So when I was a player here, we went to Connecticut to play my senior season. Coach Papa is from Connecticut. She's an alum of UConn, and her niece Taryn was in the dugout as our bat girl. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
Mhm.
good. That's pretty good. So you got a lot of extra options there.
Yeah.
Just hey,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. She's very talented herself. Coach, I'm super excited for you. I'm so glad you're back at North Carolina. I'm excited to see how the journey goes, and we'll be following you every step of the way. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, not just now with your busy schedule, but throughout the years. And really excited to see you in those Tar Heel colors, and looking forward to seeing you all year. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.